So then we get into more of the anogenital exam. And so once again, my biggest focus is that you are okay and that you are safe. But we can collect evidence from those areas. And even if you are waxed or shaved, I still will kind of comb the area for skin cells or possible other hairs that I might find. I use really gentle technique to kind of retract and actually, kind of observe all of the different anatomy. And my idea, once again, is not to create further injury. I'm really, really cautious with how I do that, and we were trained thoroughly because you can cause more injury if you are, using a little bit harder of a technique. So while I'm observing your external genitalia, I would also do some swabs while I'm there. I might take some pictures. The foundation actually just bought this new colposcope, which is really incredible. So this is a microscope camera system. It's the mobile ODT EVA system, and it's actually a system set up for sexual assault nurse examiners or forensic nurse examiners. So this communicates with an online application that's all private and HIPAA compliant, but so that I can upload those photos right into our charting system, so that if it does go to law enforcement, everything's kind of in one package there. But it just really shows kind of any injury that you might have endured during that. So it's really intimidating to have pictures of your genital region taken, but I really try to take care of you the best I can, and everything else is covered. But when I'm being called back to court in a year, I'm not gonna remember your name or your case or your story or your injury. So this is for me to remember, okay, right, like there was that injury and there was this and I saw this. And so this also helps me to testify. And then I will insert the speculum, and this is to observe kind of the entire vaginal vault. So if there's any foreign objects in there, if there's any injuries in there. At that time, I also could test you for any STDs or STIs. And so we can talk about that and work through that process too. And at the very end of the exam, I can do a major STD or STI post-exposure prophylaxis, so meaning it's kind of a big antibiotic shot and a bunch of antibiotic pills. But it just is going to give you this super, super boost so that we're going to kill anything that you could have possibly been exposed to. We also could talk about any viral infections at that point, so any viral STIs or STDs. I don't care if you are on your period or if there's anything that you're embarrassed about, if you feel like you have any malodor. This is what I do for a living, and so that it is way more uncomfortable for you than it ever will be for me. And so I always like to say that, because our menstruation is a part of normal life, and that's just fine. I see that frequently. And it's with the permission of the patient. Is if I see any injuries, I'm going to take pictures while I'm doing that. So Steamboat Springs Police Department actually donated this to us. They gave us this awesome camera. This is not law enforcement property. It is something that they donated to the hospital. But so this is just a way I can take some really good pictures of injuries like bruises or scratches. Any kind of blood stains or anything like that, if you're missing any hair. And so I take a series of 3 photos. The first photo actually starts off with your face, so I can show, yes, this was actually you. I'm not falsifying this. The second is kind of a little bit further away, so I know what body part I'm actually looking at, because if you just start zooming in, it's hard to tell what part of skin is what part of the body. So a little bit further away for an orientation picture. Then I take a much closer up picture of the actual injury. And then I use, this is called an ABFO, it's a measuring tool, and that's to show what size it is, because when we're looking at a picture, especially close up, it's hard to tell how big is that actually. And so this I'll do all over the body. It might be, on your face or on your back or even in your genital area if I see any injuries down there. And so it can take a little while with taking 3 pictures for each injury, especially if there's multiple bruises or abrasions or anything like that. I'm always happy if no, Patty, this was absolutely from a bike crash, like I know that's what that's from, then I'm fine, I don't need to document that. But if you have injuries that you say, actually I don't know what that's from, or oh, at that point he kicked me there or she kicked me there, then I can step in with that. For me personally, the shortest I've ever done is 4 hours, and the longest I've ever done is 11. And then every single piece of evidence that I collect gets a piece of evidence tape with my initials. And that's to ensure chain of custody. So I collected this, I kept this, I filed it in the envelope together, and the only other person I'm going to give that to is the collecting officer. And we will sign off who actually received the evidence from me.